Hey guys, how's it going? I went to the point where I wanted to figure out what I needed for brakes, so I took the time today and pulled all the drums off and inspected what I had. And I inspected the fact that I pretty much need everything. All the wheel cylinders are pretty much cruddy or frozen or starting to leak or leaking. So I went and I got all those. While I got it apart, I am going to replace the emergency brake cables. All those do move. I do have a set that I bought for it, so while I got it apart, I'll throw them in. So far, I already made my list and I went shopping. I did that purchase, and so I was waiting for those parts to come. But I took the drums, I cut all the drums. They look decent. The front was a little bit of a bitch to get apart. The inner bearing did not want to come off. It was kind of seized to the shaft, and it goes right here. So I put a puller on it. Of course, that exploded the cage, and then I ended up grabbing a air hammer with a chisel and grabbing the inner race and just kind of walking the inner race out. I should put a light on you guys. There we go. So here's the cage all exploded, and then of course I had to go chisel it out, and it did explode a corner off of it, but I got it apart. And I took all that apart just because I wanted to get to replace the seals, you know. And of course the bearing is holding it, so that didn't happen. And when I did my order, I went to go and look for all my parts. The one thing they did not have was the inner bearing. And it's like 55 through 63 and then it changes. But when I placed the order, when I actually called, what I do is I go on, I went on Rustoration. That's where I've been getting my parts, and I make the list on their website, my shopping list. Then I just call them up, and they can see that list that I have right there. And then I just talk over what they do and don't have. And they actually had them in stock, so that kind of worked out well. And I give my credit card number instead of doing it on the computer, you know. So all new parts are coming. Again, all the brake drums are cut all the way around. Ordered new shoes. The shoes look fine, but they're the rivet type, so they kind of suck when they wear down. Actually, I got to use the front ones over because they did not have those either. So, and the last thing was the steering damper. I ordered I took the steering damper off. Again, it's like a sideways shock absorber. And when I took that off, it was like what I was saying on the last video. You go to move it. It immediately should have resistance. If it moves a ½ inch before it starts making resistance, it's no good, and that's the case in this one. Essentially, it started pissing too much oil out. So then I started just kind of moving ahead with what I think I'm going to put where, and start, before I weld the decking on, I want to start running the very last bit of wire. So if you notice under there's a spool of wire, and then all those going under the rail over there. That's going to be the hot lead for the winch that's going to sit right behind the back window on the decking, and I ran that over to the battery, ran it through the firewall. I used some decent connectors too. They're the ones with the rubber around them, and again it's that same cloth type wire but much heavier gauge than the stuff I was using for the sending unit. And speaking of which, I almost put it all together without putting a ground on the sending unit, so that would have sucked. I would have had to go climb in there and try to make a ground. So I made a quickie there. And again, just did a self tapper, and I cleaned it up, and I just put grease around all those connections when I'm done to try to save them in the future. So that was it for kind of doing some add-ons, but then I decided to start doing something with the exhaust. And again, the problem with the exhaust is I have to get the bumper back here, and until I get the bumper back here, I don't know what and where everything will fit. So I kind of was coming up with the idea of coming off this header and doing a split and coming both ways and running a muffler underneath the bumper on each side. These are I believe they're Harley. They're Harley takeoffs, you know, the stock stuff that comes with them. And I think they were the yard sale for 10 bucks. I think I paid $5 for the pair. I was going to split it and do all that, but I figured I might as well see what it sounds like before I go through all that in case I don't like it, you know. So right now I just cut the original flange off and took part of the muffler that was on it. Just they had like a 180, so I cut part of that out, and I just have the muffler stuck in there for now. And if it sounds decent, I'll make another support going back to the muffler so the weight's not hanging on it. So I figure might be a good time to start up and see how it sounds. What do you think? So I'm not going to put any gas in it. I don't want any gas in the tank or anything, but what I'll do is I'll backfeed down through the horn on the carburetor. You could fill the float bowl from there, and we could probably fire it up on that, and it'll run for long enough to see how it sounds. Here's all the muffler stuff that I cut off of it. It's getting pretty thin. There's not much left to it. Kind of hard to weld it. So if I do decide to go do that with the split, I'll get myself a nice, decent piece of pipe to start with. Again, that whole system was shot anyway. I think that came with the red bug. Actually, that exhaust is probably on this motor. And these Harley ones, you can't see through them. It's not like it's a straight pipe. So it should knock it down a little bit. Yeah, this motor is, it's got ratio rockers on it. It's got a bunch of stuff that's done to it at one time. It had I think it had dual Cadrons, he said on it. I'm not sure. Might have been dual Webers. And anyway, so he had a bunch of problems with them. He ended up taking that off and went back with a stock intake and a stock exhaust. So this motor has a little bit more, not much, but I don't know if it's got oversized jugs or not. Alright, so let's go fill this puppy up. The price of pellets, I'm shutting my pellet stove off now. Not actually the price, well, the price too, but trying to find pellets, wood stove pellets, it's getting next to impossible. I have 9 bags left, but I'm not drilling in down below. Yeah, it is. I think it's full. Pellets are getting real hard to find. So I want to weld the decking on this thing, but what happens is you got to have the door open, you got to run the stove wide open, and it's going to go down to 0 tonight. So I figure I'll screw it. I'll figure I'll shut it down. I'm trying to save what I have left for pellets. All right, well, we set that choke. Actually, we should see if we got a little accelerator pumpage action. Oh, it's pouring in there. It's got way too much in there now. I overfilled it. Alright. Come on. It's flooded. I don't want to give it any gas. Come on. There you go. Doesn't sound bad at all. It's quiet. Oh, it doesn't sound bad at all. Yeah, we might go with that. Motor sounds good too. Check my charge light, see if my charge light's out. Yep, both my lights are out, that's good. That means I'm charging and I got good oil pressure. The load on it. It's running out of gas now. Yeah, they should both come on. They both came on. Good. Alright. Open the door, a little bit of air in. Yeah, that'll sound nice. Even if I just go with that temporarily, it's not obnoxious, you know, for a header. Yeah, so what I might do is come off and split it, and I'll run another one the other direction. That'll look pretty good. Probably black them out. What I'm waiting on is I gotta find another bumper bracket for that side so I can set the bumper up, but there's plenty of room between the two for me to put it. This is hanging down a little. That should be right about there. So, all right, I'm happy with that. And you can see the rest of the wire run down and around, and that'll just hook to the battery. I might put like a breaker in there, a 30 amp breaker, like there's like an RV trailer has on it. Just in case it does arc out, it'll kick the breaker, or if I draw too much, it'll overheat the wire. Alright guys, well, don't have much more to show. Again, it should be my last shopping list of stuff that I have to buy new. It will be coming in, so I figure, I don't know, probably about 5 days for that to happen. But in the meantime, I may get that deck welded up. I'm pretty much caught up with, I think, everything else. So weld all that together, get the back wall straightened out, and figure out what I want to do to attach all that. And then I can start putting the back window in after I'm done beating on it. Someone was saying that with that rust stuff, put it in a spray bottle, and I'm going to do that. That's all I had at the time, but I figure I put it in a mist bottle. Wherever I want to go rust, I can kind of have a fine mist go on it instead of dribbling it on with a ketchup bottle, you know. Yeah, here's the winch that's going to go in it. Just a made in China thing. I'll peel that off. But I think it's a 2000. Doesn't even say. Yeah, 2000. I can call it 2000. And I'll leave the joystick right on it all the time. And then probably what I'll do is I'll get like an old cooler. Or like an old milk box or something like that, and I'll set it over the top of it so you don't see it. So when it's in the bed in the back, you're just gonna see a little cooler of some sort covering it. And I'll have the wires kind of poke up from behind, and I'll seal those in real good. Alright guys, well that's about it. I'm gonna go shut her down. And again, thanks for watching, comment, and subscribing. And we're getting pretty close. It's almost roadworthy. Again, take care. Bye.